Hello everyone, this is another video on palmistry where we will be talking about area of influence of any particular mount. But right now the reference is the mount of Venus and we will be talking about this particular mount. Basically what we mean by area of influence is how much area does it basically cover. Normally people think that all the mounts have got only one small area allocated to it. Like let us assume this is the area of Mount of Jupiter. People think that it's just limited to only this particular area, and people think that this is the area of Mount of Saturn, so just limiting to this particular small area, and the Mount of Sun and the Mount of Mercury, the Mars positive, the planes of Mars. So people just think that the area just limited to this particular small areas, and it doesn't extend to the other areas. But we have to see it in a different light. Basically, if one particular mount appears to be prominent, let us assume that the mount of Venus is highly padded, very well padded, and it has a great mount, well padding. So this area is going to be risen. This whole area is going to be risen on the hand. And if this area is risen, and the other areas that you see, all the other mounts, they are not they are not too prominent, no padding over it. So automatically what is going to happen is that the area of influence of the mount of Venus is going to basically extend further, and it's going to extend probably even reaching till the mount of Mercury. It could be reaching Mount of Sun, reaching the Mount of Saturn and the Mount of Jupiter, and the whole of center of the mount, the plains of Mars. So it is basically signifying that the Venus is basically having a prominent, very prominent kind of influence on our personality, and we are doing things what basically the Venus is demanding. So let us assume what Venus desires. Venus is the area of sexuality. Venus is basically the area of love, grace, desires, passion, vitality, stamina, good health, sensuality, sexuality. So all these areas are basically showing up in a prominent way in one person's life. The person might have uninterrupted, huge amount of desires. The person might be having desires at a young age, at the mid age, and at old age as well. Some people, what happens is that in most of the cases, what happens is that the mount of Venus might not be well padded. So if the mount of Venus is not well padded, what's going to happen is that the person is likely to have lesser desires, and it might indicate that the person has got less fuel in him, and less fuel in him does him or her means that that his car is going to go for a shorter distance compared to a person who has a prominent mount of Venus. So a person who has got a prominent mount of Venus is likely to have desires that are huge, and that are never ending, and it signifies that the person has got vitality, stamina, the person is warm, and so the area of influence of Venus, here we are talking about the area of influence of Venus. It has extended further and it's not necessarily limiting to this particular area only. It has extended even further, and the person would be known, probably, if the person might be uh, known for the qualities I've just mentioned regarding the Venus. His warmth, and the person would be highly sexual, sensual, and the person would be able to give energies to people, and the person might love food, the person might be extremely graceful. So the whole personality is getting ruled by the mount of Venus. So that is the reason we don't limit the area just to a small area. Imagine one more thing, just for explanation purposes, I am just explaining to you. Imagine that there is a light source somewhere out here, and the light is and you're putting a torch and like pointing towards the mount of Venus. And if you notice that the shadow, where is basically the shadow going to? The shadow is going to go somewhere out here. So because this is the prominent mount of Venus, it's well padded, it's high and risen. So there would be some shadow out here. So if there's shadow, it means that this area is prominent, and it has basically bearing on the mount of Mercury as well. It has got its influence over this particular area. And if this area is not well developed, let's assume the mount of Jupiter is not well developed, and there's a light source out here, and we point a torch towards the mount of Venus. So the shadow is going to go out here, pointing towards the mount of Jupiter. So it would have a shadow kind of effect over the Jupiter, and this is the area of administration, religion, and politics and honor. It could be reverse as well. Imagine if this area is prominent, highly prominent. So what is going to happen, even if the torch is pointing towards this particular area, there wouldn't be too much of a shadow over this particular area, because it is high, it is well padded. So I've explained to you this particular aspect of the area of influence of mounts on our hands, and how basically it affects us, and how we are basically known by whatever mount is prominent in one's hand. If a person has got the mount of Mercury to be prominent, and mount of Mercury if prominent, well padded, it would signify that the person has got very good technical skills, business skills, communication skills. The person has got very good memory. The person has got very good calculation. So all those areas basically become prominent. So the person is going to be known for all these particular areas in his life. So the area needs to be well padded. It's not just the mount that needs to be prominent. There are other things as well, and those basically concern the lines that a person might have on his palm, the different signs that might be there on the palm of a person. So if a person has got these horizontal kind of lines that you see on top left corner or the grill, it would indicate negativity, or the crosses or the island. All these are basically negative. If there's a square, it's a positive sign. If there's a tassel, it's a negative sign on any particular mount. If there are dots, again are basically a negative sign. A chain-like formation, a negative sign on the palm, on the hand in palmistry. And these breaks, if you see on a particular mount, be it Sun mount or Mercury mount or the Saturn mount or the Jupiter mount, all these are basically negative signs. A line, there should be either no line at all on the mounts, or if there are any lines, they should be deep, clear, singular. Those are the things that basically gives result, not weak kind of lines that basically give result. So that's it for this particular video. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, click on the like button and do subscribe to my channel. Thanks and bye and take care.